Hey guys, welcome back to One Stop Biology. So today we are going to start with the third chapter of NCERT Class 11th, which is Plant Kingdom. I hope you would have gone through all the previous videos that I have recorded for chapter 1st and chapter 2nd, and it is all interlinked. So if you have not gone through the video, I would request you to quickly go through the previous videos as well. So basically in the previous videos we studied various classification of kingdom, and the one which we take into consideration is 5 kingdom classification, right? So it is 5 kingdom classification which was given by Whittaker in 1969. So how he divided the 5 different kingdoms? He divided it into Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. So what we studied in the second chapter is we covered the first 3 kingdoms, which is Monera, Protista and Fungi, and we are left with plant and animal kingdom. So in this chapter we will study plant kingdom in detail. Okay, so again plant kingdom is divided into several different groups. And what are these groups? So in the last chapter we actually studied very basic of plant and animal kingdom as well. So plant kingdom is basically divided into 5 different groups again, which is algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Okay, so in the first part of this chapter, this very video, we are going to cover the group algae. Okay, now what exactly is algae? So before we get into the introduction of what algae is, they have also given certain classification system. So basically they have introduced what are the different system of classification and how all these are different from each other. So initially what we did is we chose artificial classification, which is not considered very true, because it just divided all the organisms on the basis of their vegetative characters. Okay, it was given by Linnaeus. But what happens is when you talk about vegetative characters, it can be, say, shape of leaves, color of flower, and things like that. So basically you are not at all taking into consideration the sexual characters or anything else as such. So say if I compare two very different type of plant just because their flower color is white, this is basically a very wrong method of classification, right? So that is why this is not considered a good method of creating classification or dividing species. And that is where we introduce the next method of classification, which is natural classification, right? So in natural classification, you not just take into consideration the vegetative, but you also take into consideration the sexual characteristics. Okay, so you classify organisms on the basis of structure, their anatomy, their embryology. So this is basically the better system of classification, right? Their phytochemistry and a lot of things. Right, so this is better than the artificial system of classification. Then this was basically given by George Bentham. And Joseph Dalton Hooker. Okay, And then the third system again was introduced, which was phylogenetic classification. So basically in this system, in this type of classification, what you do is you divide the species on the basis of phylogeny. What does it mean exactly? So you basically compare their evolutionary relationship. Okay, so what you do is you basically compare on the basis of evolution. Okay, and this helped us in gathering fossil evidence. Okay, then there's also another kind of taxonomy which I would like to just explain in very short. So there is numerical taxonomy. What does numerical taxonomy mean? So basically these are carried out using computers, and it is based on numbers and codes which are assigned to the characters of the organisms, and you match it, and on the basis of that you classify. So basically this is based on the number and codes, and these are given to different characters. So you basically match these numbers and codes and you classify organisms, right? And the next one being cytotaxonomy. So as the name itself suggests, cytotaxonomy is nothing but on the basis of cytological information. Okay, so maybe it can be chromosome number, its structure, its behavior, so behavior of chromosome and gene, right? And the last one being chemotaxonomy. So here what you do is you use chemical constituent. Okay, of plant. And on the basis of that you classify different organisms of plant. Okay, so now we'll start with algae. Now what exactly these algae are? So these algae are, as you can see here, chlorophyll bearing, simple, thalloid, autotrophic and largely aquatic organisms. So here are some of the basic features of algae as explained. They are first of all chlorophyll bearing, and that is why they are autotrophic. They can prepare their own food, right? Then they are simple. The structure is very simple. They are thalloid and they are aquatic. Now by aquatic I mean freshwater and marine both. Okay, now what are the habitats of algae? So the habitats of algae can be, say, moist, stones, soil and wood. Now in the previous chapter we also studied association of algae and fungi, which is lichens. So sometimes they occur as in association with fungi as well, and also animals in some case, like sloth bear. So basically they occur in association, in symbiotic association with fungi and animals. Okay, now next is the form or size of algae. So it is very much variable, and what happens is it can be microscopic, right? So it can be microscopic, which is example is Chlamydomonas. It can be colonial, which is Volvox. It can be, say, filamentous, which is Pyrogyra. It can be flagellate and non-flagellate, so it can be motile or non-motile, right? And then comes their reproduction. So how does they reproduce exactly? Okay, so we'll study reproduction in algae as well in common first, and then we'll take up different types of algae and we'll study their characteristic features as well. and how they are all different from each other. Okay, so algae can basically reproduce by vegetative, asexual, and sexual, all three means of reproduction. Now, how does vegetative reproduction happens? So it happens by fragmentation. Okay, so what happens in fragmentation? They develop a fragment, and each fragment develops in a thallus. Okay, so they develop a fragment, and then this develops into a thallus. Okay, now what happens in asexual reproduction? So it can happen through different types of spores. Okay, and the most common one is zoospore. So this is the common one. Okay, so what happens here exactly is these spores can be flagellated. So they are flagellated, so basically these spores are motile, and on germination these gives rise to new plants. Okay, so these are the asexual reproduction, wherein it happens through zoospores, which is the most common type of spore in case of algae. These are flagellated, and on germination they give rise to a new plant. And what happens in sexual reproduction? So in sexual reproduction, they basically again produce gametes, right? So they produce gametes, right? So it happens through fusion of two gametes. Okay, now what does these gametes do exactly? So these gametes again are flagellated and similar in size. So it can be flagellated, that is motile, and similar in size. It can be non-flagellated, and also similar in size, right? So example of flagellated and similar in size gametes are in the case of Chlamydomonas, and non-flagellated and similar in size is nothing but Spirogyra. Okay, so these kind of reproduction are known as isogamous. Okay, so these type of production are known as isogamous. Now there can be fusion of two gametes which are basically not similar in size. So if the fusion is between two gametes which are dissimilar in size, right, then it is known as anisogamous. Okay, and the third case being again fusion will always be between two gametes. So fusion between two gametes, but here what happens? One gamete is large, non-motile. Okay, so one gamete is large, non-motile, which is the female gamete, and the other one is smaller, motile, which is male gamete. In this case, the reproduction is known as oogamous. Okay, so it happens in volvox. Okay, this happens in Chlamydomonas. Okay, so basically there are three types of sexual reproduction. First one is through isogamy, wherein both the gametes present are first of all similar in size, but they can be flagellated or non-flagellated. Okay, the second one is anisogamous, wherein both the gametes are dissimilar in size. The third one is they are not similar in size and they are motile and non-motile. So there the female gamete is large and non-motile, and the male gamete is smaller in size and it can move. So it is motile. Okay, and I have given certain examples as well. So with this we complete the reproduction in algae, the different types of reproduction in algae. Now what is left is the different uses. Okay, so what are the different uses basically? So what are the different uses of algae? Let's see that. So they are basically useful to humans basically in a lot of ways. Okay, so they are useful in a lot of ways. Now the first being, what they do is they fix CO2 through photosynthesis. Okay, so since they are photosynthetic, since they perform photosynthesis, they are autotrophs. What they do is they fix carbon dioxide present on Earth, and at least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. So you can imagine how much important they are. Okay, so they basically are photosynthetic and they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment. Okay, so that is why they are of major importance, they are of paramount importance. Okay, so basically what they do is they are primary producer of energy rich compounds, okay, in the food cycle as well. Okay, so basically what you can say is they are basis of food cycle of all aquatic animals. Okay, so they fix CO2 from the environment, and almost half of the total carbon dioxide on Earth is fixed through them, right? Then they are primary producers, right? So they are basis of the food cycle of almost all aquatic animals. Okay, now they also produce large amount of hydrocolloids. Okay, what are hydrocolloids? So hydrocolloids basically are water holding substances. Okay, for example, algin. Algin is the algae which produce very high amount of hydrocolloid. And what does it do? These hydrocolloids are basically water holding substance. So they are also used commercially. Okay, now again they are used commercially to also grow microbes and in preparation of food as well. So the algae agar is used in a lot of food material where you need to produce a jelly like substance, right? So in ice creams, in jellies, these are used as a basic component basically, right? Then they are also rich in proteins, and that is why they are used as protein supplements. By whom? By space travelers. Okay, so one example is spirulina. Okay, so algae like spirulina have so much of protein that they are used as protein supplement by space travelers. So here you can see that they are so much useful to human beings in general, right? They fix CO2 for us. They are the basis of food cycle for all aquatic animals. They produce hydrocolloids, which are water holding substances, and because of that they are used in preparation of food. They are used as a basic substance when you perform your microbiology experiment. So people who would be taking microbiology later in their graduation or post graduation, you will do a lot of experiments where you will use the medium that you will use will be the algae. So they are used in growing microbes, and then they are so rich in protein that they are used as protein supplements as well. And you can imagine how important it is for us that they are used as protein supplements by space travelers, right? So this is all about the general characteristic features, and in the next video what we are going to do is we are going to study the different types of algae which are present in the system, the different groups of algae. So I hope you understood this video. Please do let me know through your likes if you have understood, and please drop in your feedback in comment if you have not understood anything, or if you want me to add more points to it, and I'll do so. You can also ping me on the WhatsApp number given in the description below. Okay, and do subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates with respect to video. I'll also be starting class 12th biology very soon, so stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.